Hey everyone, I'm Lori Lipstein, principal of Thread Strategies, here with my friend and colleague Tracy Shaw, also principal at Thread, and we appreciate you joining us for Threading It Together. And today's topic is stewardship after your end of year appeal. We are recording this during an end of year time period, so this is top of mind for us right now. But if you're catching this video not at end of year, I think a lot of what we're going to chat about today is relevant to stewardship at any time of year, especially following a campaign or an appeal that you might do. So so stick with us and hopefully this is helpful. Okay, where to start? So Tracy, end of year, we're tired. It's a lot.
Yep.
Stewardship. Oh my gosh, one more thing to think about.
One more thing.
Where would you start? Where would you start?
So I think you do yourself a big favor if you will make it part of your planning process when you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in August, thinking about aspirationally about your end of year fundraising. Make it a section of your year-end fundraising plan. Think very specifically about what type of stewardship you're going to do, who you're going to thank, and how. Because if you make that plan, you're a lot more likely to execute it. And also, it takes away the uncertainty that happens once the donations start to roll in. It creates a lot of space within those 8 to 10 weeks where you can build relationships with donors because you are executing a plan that you've already set in place. So I do think absolutely the plan is the best place to start when you think about it.
That's what holds us accountable, right? I mean,
Yep.
Sometimes I have intentions, but if they're not, if everyone's on the same page about that being a plan, they get kicked down the road. All right, so we have a plan, and I think we have some good ideas about what you might want to put into that plan. I would start with thinking about your first-time donors. The end of year tends to be a time, just because of the high volume of giving in general, where you might get more first-time donors than you would usually get, at least all at once. And lots of great data around how important it is to really intentionally welcome your first-time donors and be really thoughtful about the way you follow up with them. In fact, we have a whole other YouTube training on it, so we're not going to go too deep into the techniques on that. Go check it out. But when you're making your plan, think really intentionally about those first-time donors. That's what my first thing that I would put into the plan.
Yeah. The other thing I think about is, thinking into the next year, especially if your campaign is around a very specific program or some sort of project goal, and you've told your donors that you are raising a certain amount of money to fund this type of work. I think it's great to even think ahead about an impact report that you might be able to send in March. It connects the givers to the impact that their donations have made, closing that loop on the reasons why you fundraise. And it also really, it allows you to kind of, it expands their loyalty, also maybe expands their heart a little bit, that you connect back to them like, hey, I helped do this. And so I definitely think you should add in, if possible, some sort of impact report very early on in 2022, specific to your end of year donors. They would be really super helpful.
That's one of my favorite things to do. So many times our year-end appeals are the most specific kind of ask we're making. Like, for example, we have a partner who uses that time period to fundraise for their scholarship fund. And so, if you were doing something like that and saying we're raising $100,000 for our scholarship fund, it just makes it so easy then to pull a report of all the people who gave to that effort. You've got it all, labeled as your end of year donors. And in March, report back to them how many scholarships have you given so far this year? How many more do you hope to give? A story or two about some recipients. It's really good stewardship to connect those donors to the exact impact that they made, how they responded to your call to action. You asked for this specific thing, they gave it, and now they can see how it's playing out. Certainly the next time you ask them for something, they will be more inclined to give, knowing that you're truly making impact with the dollars that they give.
100% agree. The other thing that comes to my mind is to use different methods to thank people at the end of the year. There's a lot of ways you can be creative, certainly within your capacity. So don't try to do all the things, right? But, sending an email, if you have automated emails, that's great. Make sure that they are customized to your end of year giving. Calls, we've part of this series for end of year trainings is getting your volunteers involved and making calls. Thank you calls is a great way to do that. So check out that video as well. The other thing I really love that I've seen some of our partners do is creating short videos and sending to specific donors, maybe at a certain level or above. It just really creates that personal touch, and I love it when they get creative. So I think you just use a lot of methods to thank people within your capacity and be thoughtful about who you're involving in the process. So I don't know, is there anything else that you would add to your plan, Lori, of stewardship?
I'm actually going to say, let's keep the plan simple. Sometimes this is where things fall apart. Like Kristen said, you don't have to do all the things. So have a plan, put a few specific things in there, but don't try to do so many things that your plan falls apart. So in the spirit of encouraging you to make specific and simple plans, I think that's a good place to start for today with those ideas. And, as you get those flowing well, you can always build on it year over year.
100% agreed. Well, thank you for joining us today for threading it together specific to stewardship for end of year. We really appreciate your time. We hope you've enjoyed it and find this useful. And if you do, we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, share it with your fellow fundraising colleagues and those who might enjoy learning a little bit more about fundraising tactics. And of course, we encourage you to reach out to us directly if you have any direct questions about fundraising. You can find our contact information on our website at threadstrategies.com. Otherwise, we're grateful for your time and wish you the best and happy fundraising.
Happy fundraising. Thank you.